I think we are absolutely bankrupt when it comes to trying to understand how to get people to actually go to these programs. We have this kind of naive idea that they'll do it themselves. And everybody's rushing around saying, oh, it's self-referral. Well, the simple truth is there isn't such a thing as self-referral. Well, most of us know that, but for administrative reasons, just like that merit rating stuff, we put that down on a piece of paper when the realities are quite different than that. The realities are that the workplace can be a very motivational source, and that motivational force has been caught up in the phrase constructive intervention. Constructive intervention that is based upon poor performance. And there are very few of these emotional disorders we're talking about that do not eventuate in poor performance rather quickly. We have some pretty good evidence to show that. With that in mind, the workplace sets up an ideal place to motivate. Motivate by constructive intervention. And what does that mean? It means that the psychodynamics of denial, which is present in practically all of these disorders that we've been traditionally talking about, must somehow or another be blunted, reduced before treatment can have any effect. So that the psychodynamics of denial as the major target towards which intervention is aimed, using impaired performance as the way to bring it to their attention, is quite effective as a motivator. I think you have to understand, as an EAP worker, you have to understand and explain this two-pronged nature of the intervention. It is constructive in that it offers, almost bends over backwards to offer help, to offer rehabilitation opportunity, to offer treatment, at the same time carefully pointing out the role impairment of job performance which has occurred. The job represents the most important part of most people's lives today. I feel rather saddened in saying that, but it does. We would hope that the family, the community, the church might play an equal role, but it doesn't. Any competent observer of American culture will tell you that the workplace has become almost jammed with everybody. Everybody wants in it. Everybody wants to get their major responses and reactions from it, and it is in the workplace that we can find this source of motivation that can both constructively offer an opportunity for help and at the same time introduce reality. Reality is the actual facts of poor performance. Now, anybody that's trained in management knows that the only way a good manager can really perform is to manage cases like this. And I've heard a lot of people say, well, supervisors won't do that, managers won't do that. Well, that's true for a sizable number of them, but a sizable number of them do it. A sizable number of them know how to do it. If this person who suffers from these particular behavior disorders is not performing well, then there is a highly legitimate reason to intervene. And that is not harassment, that is not hurting, that is not deliberately oppressing somebody. It is very deliberately offering them unbelievable opportunities to get help and support. Probably the strategies for doing this task boil down to traditional training. And here I find many EAP workers don't seem to know anything about conference leadership. They seem to know very little about development of incidences that you can build into cases that can then be built into role-playing. Everybody thinks, well, you just quickly get a little role-playing skit out there and do it. Training to use constructive confrontation is a much more elaborate and complicated matter. It really is consumed in the typical kind of industrial training that many people may already have mastered. But the EAP people don't seem to know how, for example, to really use role-playing. But there are those strategies there, and they seem to be caught up in typical kinds of training activities.